Hello everyone, I'm Sophia Worrell and we are now in the second half of our 30-day course to improve ourselves and our community, and today I want to talk on the subject of Now I Know. I am able to produce this course because of the experiences I have gone through as a person of African descent. When my parents separated, it caused a pain so terrible that took years to resolve. Through prayer and allowing people to help me along the way, I had to deal with predators that my mother brought into the home to replace my father. My fight for survival took over my life and prevented me from focusing my energy into my schoolwork. What resulted was that I repeated the same cycle that had hurt me so badly. I found solace in having a personal relationship with God. It took prayer and daily devotions to right the bad start that I had. God helped me every step of the way to break those negative patterns and show me how to rectify the situation. It was not easy to do, but it was necessary. I broke those negative patterns under the pressure of people not really supporting my decisions. But as I listened to God through the prompting of the Holy Spirit, I got the courage to make amends with His Father and be co-parented over with our son, though we were no longer in a relationship. If I had listened to God, rather, if I had not listened to God, my son would not have survived and I would not be on the path that I am today. Whatever I'm suggesting is not easy, but it sure is necessary to do. His father and I worked together to guide and shape our son because it was not about us. It was about that boy we brought into the world. I listened to my son and was there for him, and so was his father. And today, they still have a great father and son bond. I made the choice to take on the full responsibility of fixing the breach so that our son would have a better chance than we did. It was rocky at times, and when my son came here and had to start anew, he was not as confident that about being able to find a nice lady. I prayed for the best possible female, and today he is dating the most wonderful young girl. um, I stand in awe as I watch them together, and I'm jealous of their relationship and that I was never able to build one like it. By jealous, I mean in a good way. No one taught me, no one showed me, no one truly helped me to understand the building blocks of life. I was given pieces of information here and there, but it was not anything that I could have connected in a straight line. My mother did try, but she was limited in her ability, so as was my father. They were both speaking to me through lens of failure and pain. What I needed was someone to speak to me on a level of success. That is, they had taken a path and had overcome and now could lead me. Let me just go through with how God reinvented me. So, prayer is a tool that works. In one of my manuscripts, I have written in great detail about the duty and role of God in our lives. Since this is a short course, much of what I'm stating is an overview, and I'm seeking to cover as much detail as I can. Now, it may seem as though I'm all over the place, but I want us to be centered in the fact that life is indeed basic and goes in a straight line, but with several intersecting lines merging in and out of our lives. My life was a mess when I first came here, and I asked God to release me from the curse that held me captive. It took time to understand who I was in Him and what my purpose was in life. I want to give you hope as you listen to this. When our parents fail us, God steps in and takes over. We come from Him. He is God our Father and God our Mother. If we take the time to understand relationship with Him, we will see that He has two genders. This side which is loving, caring, and gentle like mother, and ready to discipline, guide, and protect like father. That is why when He said in Genesis, let us make man in our own image, is how He fused Himself into the male, giving him certain qualities, and filling into the female, giving her other aspects of Himself, so that they could come together as to balance each other. When we lose our parents, we can turn to God, and He is doing and will do damage control. I have proven this as God fits all of those rough edges, and I was able to forgive myself, my parents, and this culture that I was born into. And so now that I am healed, I have to help bring others to find their source of healing as well. This is my calling, and I'm willing to take up the charge to do my assignment. I did not know all of this previous to coming here. I had many questions as to why we of African descent was the way we are, and through college, work, and research, God has given me the answers to all of my questions. And now that I'm healed and whole, I am able to assist you who are listening. I have traveled through the Caribbean and here in America and met and talked with many people, particularly of African descent, and have to admit that we have a shortfall and do not measure up much to the standards of what is expected in society. When we succeed, what usually happens is that we don't turn around and teach these principles to others so that they too will succeed. When we accumulate wealth, we do not share how we did it with others so that they can learn the benefits of being rich and prosperous. I have been sharing as much as I can in this course, along with highlighting the negative aspects. I have been sharing the ways in which we can improve our standards and qualities. Today is no different. There's a statement that says charity begins at home. This, of course, means that we must look after our own kids, family, and our own circle first, and then be kind to people outside afterwards. The Bible states in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which is the love chapter, in the last verse, and now abide the faith, hope, and charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. Love is the surrounding factor of charity. This ties in all that I have been saying so far. Our home sets us up to play the game of life and positions us to do our life's work on this earth and with people we come into contact with. It is in the home that we see this give and take happening. It is in the home that we observe how problems occur and are resolved through civil disagreements and intentional conversations that seek to mend and not tear apart. It is in a home where we are being cared for without being asked to give or do anything in return, and is where there are reasonable expectations of us. It is in the home where we are challenged and we learn how to bond with kinship and meeting goals. We learn how to get and how to give back. But most of all, the family dynamic is one in which we learn how to support and how to offer support. This is one of the chief reasons in which we of African descent are lacking. In the next sessions, I will use an analogy of an ideal family to portray what I'm talking about today and the importance of us staying together and not breaking apart so easily. As it relates to work on the earth, God has two sets of work environments for men and women to fill. There's the need to maintain this planet with all of its infrastructure and systems, and there's a need to support the people on the earth. When we're seeking our purpose in life, our biology and gender is a good guide for whether we will enter a field that maintains the earth or supports people. Generally, males will gravitate to the area of maintaining the earth, and females will go towards supporting people. Of course, there are exceptions. This is how we are designed, and that is why it is important for women to go to school and work for a while, but know that her role is first to her children and then others second. And the man understands that it is his duty to go into and remain in the workplace to facilitate this process. I have spoken directly to males about seeking God for being so that they can be disciplined, and it is only fair that I speak directly to women. Women of African descent are very distracted with their outward appearance. We now know it is because they have not been taught or given the right tools to move out into the world. Women do need to focus on their appearance, for this is how we are wired to attract a spouse. However, too much work is on the outside and not enough on inside qualities. Beauty stores that sell hair and other makeup products are a billion-dollar industry. Females of African descent have gone crazy because we have bought into the idea that we are not good enough. We have believed the nonsense statements that our skin is too dark or our hair is too coarse and our bodies do not have enough shape. This is the body that we have and the hair type that we have to work with. We buy into fake personas to appease an imaginary group of people. Investing in their fantasy leaves us broke and does not earn us the so-called respect that we are seeking to generate. We are too invested in the criticisms and accusations about our nappy hair, loud mouth, or skin tone. We are changing all of that today. We of African descent do not need anything more on the outside. What we need is a lot of extras on the inside. We must invest in our minds for the sake of our children. They are the ones we must answer to and for. We must focus on positive characteristics like our education and dating for the purpose of marrying a good man who has the best intentions for us and our children. Our precious little ones are the reasons that we work and save so that we can have cash on hand when we eventually come home to be full-time mothers and homemakers. I have written a great deal about this in another one of my manuscripts, as I said. I am so happy that the coronavirus has caused all of the beauty stores and hairdressing salons to be closed down to allow us to look at the enormous cost. We do not need a $700 piece of nonsense hair, which is someone else's hair, when we can groom our own natural hair. We must take pride in ourselves and stop seeking the approval of others. We must also stop falling for the fake lines that men of African descent say. I'm the king of my castle and this woman is my queen. We are not queens. We do not live in castles. These men are just putting up a front. We all know that this is just a guise to hide the fact that these men cannot really financially support women and children. The only queen in this era is the Queen of England. We must lift our standards as the man lifts his and unite with him as helpmate, as God has commissioned us to be. Why? Because there are too many of us of African descent that are now being stereotyped with those who act barbaric and unintelligent. Their thug-like behavior is not what we want represented of our culture anymore. That is not God's way. That is not the American way. And it is time to build a culture that is peaceful, loving, and kind. Thank you.